Well, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Christina Kay and this is Cross Life. Today I'm going to be making some thick and creamy, delicious chicken wild rice soup. This is not an actual recipe. I actually made this dinner based on what we already had in the house and in a different order than what I would normally do and without measuring any of the ingredients. So it's a bit of a free-for-all, winging it kind of a meal. Also, I didn't have any celery or slivered almonds, so those are missing in the soup. I'm starting off with some organic butter and some organic chicken base, and this is the roasted chicken base, and I'm using this because I didn't have any fresh chicken drippings available. And I'm using the base and the butter to fry up some fresh cut mushrooms, as well as the other ingredients so the flavor is infused throughout. And here we have the wild rice. And here I'm just continuing to add some different seasonings, starting with sea salt. There's some black pepper in there, there's garlic salt, there's powdered onions, there's dehydrated onions, there's garlic, parsley, and I think there's a few others in there as well. And again, it's just based on what I already have on hand and what sounded good to me at the time. And next is a diced red onion. And I'm just going to continue to saute everything in the multi-cooker until it's ready to go. And sometimes I like to add a little bit of extra butter because why not? Now let's just listen to those soothing, beautiful sizzling sounds. Next, we're putting in some organic chicken breasts, and these were just lightly baked so that they can continue to cook with all the other ingredients and again, further infuse all of those flavors. While that all continues to cook in the background, I'm going to put together the chicken broth, which is the base for the soup. And this is where you use the organic roasted chicken base that I showed you earlier. All you do is just mix it in with some boiling water, and here I'm using some boiling distilled water, and then you just mix it all together with a spoon. And sometimes I like to add a little bit more depending on how much flavor I'm looking for. And here I'm stirring it, and again, like I'm not actually measuring anything, I'm just going by what it looks like and smells like and tastes like. So I add a little bit more along the way. And then here it's going into the multi-cooker, and that's going to simmer with all of the ingredients that are already in there. Again, I'm just going to let everything continue to cook in the background, and now I'm on to making a roux. And all a roux is a mixture of flour and some form of fat, like cooking oil, butter, or chicken fat, that's cooked and then used to thicken soup, sauce, or gravy. So in this case, I'm using some organic butter, and then you just mix in flour with the butter a little bit at a time, so you slowly incorporate it, and then you use that as a sauce to thicken the soup. After a couple of minutes, I also like to add in some of the chicken broth that I just made, and then I mix that all together until it gets nice and thick and creamy looking. And then this is what it looks like when it's ready to go. And what I did was I just made a larger amount of that and then put it into the multi-cooker. And then here I'm just letting it cook a little bit and adding in a mixture of some whole milk and cream that I had. As you can probably tell, I just added in all of the wild rice here, just giving it a good stir and adding some extra seasonings. And you can see the parsley on top there, but I added some more layers of others as well. And then I'm just gonna let that cook on low for another hour. And I do like to check on it every 15 minutes or so, just to give it a good stir and to make sure that it's not boiling over. At this point, I realized that I forgot to put the carrots in, so it was a little bit of a last-minute addition, but better late than ever. And after trying soup this way, though, I actually realized that I preferred the carrots going in last because then there wasn't as strong of a carrot flavor in the soup compared to if they had gone into the multi-cooker earlier on in the process. So here I'm sauteing some chopped carrots in organic butter in a separate pan, and then I'm doing this until they're cooked but still have some firmness to them. Then I put in some salt and pepper, and then I follow that with a bit of white cooking wine, and this really gives the soup a much richer and more complex flavor. And in go all of the carrots, and again, like I said earlier, normally I would also put celery and slivered almonds in here, but I didn't have any of those available. So I'm just mixing everything up, and then I'm going to let it sit there for about another hour, again just stirring it and checking on it every 15 minutes or so, and then when it's done, this is what it looks like. There are many different ways of making this soup, but again, this was just the random way that I made it that specific day, and it turned out so well and was very delicious, and it ended up lasting us 3 days. You can change up any of the ingredients and make the soup as thick as you want. I just prefer it to be thicker like this. Because it is thick already, by the next day you'll need to add milk or cream to it to make it like soup again instead of like a hot dish. Unless of course you want it that way. To give you an example, this is what it looks like on the second day after adding some milk and cream to it. I just served this in some regular bowls, but a fun idea is to serve the chicken wild rice soup in sourdough bread bowls.